Welcome everyone. Thanks a lot for staying with us. You're watching Plain Speak with me, Shivani Gupta. The top guns of the INDIA alliance are in Mumbai for their third meet in 3 months. Around 63 representatives from 28 different parties will be meeting today and tomorrow. During the Bengaluru meet last, the opposition named their alliance as INDIA, in other ways, India. This time they are expected to release their symbol of the bloc. But the meeting is also being conducted amidst a heated race for the prime ministerial phase from the alliance. Just hours before Nitish Kumar landed in Mumbai, there were posters that emerged which read, Desh Mange Nitish. Interestingly, these posters emerged just a day after Congress released one where Rahul Gandhi was center stage and at the forefront, and there was also a prominent leader of the alliance missing. However, that poster was later deleted from social media platforms and another one was put up. While these inner contradictions keep spilling into the public via posters or statements, the parties have also been quick to either retract them or correct them. The question though persists. How long can a group function like this? And if contradictory messages and eventually end up spoiling their united pitch? After all, not only is Narendra Modi a towering figure above any opposition leader today, but continues to have high approval numbers. Without a face, it can be difficult to take on another strong face. But even if there was no one face announced, India of today is voting for stable governments, not for coalitions, unless they know exactly what they will get. So the toughest question for the bloc to answer is exactly what will they offer in terms of leadership and in terms of a program. We'll wait and see if those answers come out of these meetings. But can this India bloc overcome their inner fights? We'll take that question to our guests in just a bit. First, let me tell you how highly placed sources in Congress party are informing CNN News 18 of the grand old party's action plan. So remember, the Congress is the biggest of the parties and it has obviously wanted to play a role of the fulcrum. But ahead of this meeting, we're getting to know that the Congress will not be pitching for the convener post for any of its leaders. The Congress also doesn't want to dictate or to be seen as dictating terms to the India alliance. The grand old party doesn't want to lead the bloc. Congress has also left the decision of the convener to the allies and it will be a joint decision. But here's the caveat. If Congress does well, for example, in upcoming state elections like Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan, Chhattisgarh, will they still play along or will it be time for the Congress party to exact its pound of flesh? Because whatever said and done, if one party is well ahead of the others, it will naturally demand that it be the pole of the alliance. On the other hand, the JDU has been constantly pushing for Nitish Kumar for the top post. So take a look at some of these statements that have been made by Chief Spokesperson of the JDU, KC Tyagi. On August 27, for example, he said that Nitish is the one who established INDIA. So therefore, he should get a lot of credit for that. Just a day later, he said Nitish has all the qualities to become the Prime Minister. And again today, even as the leaders collect in Mumbai, he has once again reminded all other partners that the India bloc was formed due to the initial efforts made by Nitish Kumar. In other words, there is a constant fight overdue for each leader. The run-up to the meeting has also been quite interesting, and as I mentioned, this fight or this pitch is not coming just from the JDU, it is also coming from the Congress party in some ways, even if they correct it. It is also coming from the likes of the Aam Aadmi party, even if they won't have the numbers to really ask for a prime position. So for example, Congress first released a poster that didn't even have Arvind Kejriwal, so naturally Aam Aadmi party's Priyanka Kakkar, she came out and said that Kejriwal is fit to be the prime ministerial candidate. Later, that statement was retracted by Atishi, the Delhi minister, to calm nerves. Priyanka Chaturvedi of the UBT Sena pitched Uddhav as the prime ministerial face. What does the man himself say? That opposition has many options for PM face. So they keep making these statements and they keep trying to do damage control. KC Tyagi, as I referred to, has been querying the pitch for the partners by repeatedly pitching Nitish as the PM face or the leader of the alliance, as a convener at least. But Nitish himself has repeatedly said that he doesn't want to be the convener. So one issue is the messaging, of course. The other is whether they can continue to overcome these internal fights. And that's a big question ahead of our first debate here on Plain Speak.
देश के अंदर संविधान जो गारंटी देता है हर नागरिक को हिंदू हो या मुसलमान हो, महिला हो या पुरुष हो, सबको जो बराबरी का जो गारंटी देता है उसको लागू करवाना है तो इस सरकार को, बीजेपी को सरकार से हटाना।
Problems and the ailments that the country is today suffering from is what remains to be seen. And I think it's a very significant meeting for this alliance. Everyone is looking forward to it. So are we.
नया इसका कोई संयोजन मंडल या संयोजक भी हो सकता है। एक झंडा जरूर होगा जिसके नीचे सारे दल मिलकर के चुनाव लड़ेंगे। ये इस मीटिंग की सबसे बड़ी सफलता है।
The agenda is the absolute uselessness of the central government, absolute failure of an unconstitutional government, and absolute abject failure to people's issues.
सभी जानते हैं कि जीएम की मीटिंग मुंबई में हो रही है। जीएम मतलब घमंडिया मीटिंग, ये आज मुंबई में है। तो वास्तविक रूप में ये जो म्यूजिकल चेयर विपक्षी दलों के बीच में चल रहा है, इसके विषय में ज्यादा बताने की आवश्यकता नहीं।
Let's go across to the guests who are joining us. I'm joined by Krishna Hegde, who's part of the Shiv Sena, of course, the one that is aligned with the Shinde faction. There is a different Shiv Sena now, which is the Uddhav Thackeray Shiv Sena. Mr. Krishna Hegde, this meeting is happening in Mumbai, and of course, the likes of Uddhav Thackeray, the likes of, Congress's big faces in Maharashtra are all pitching this alliance as the one-stop solution for the opposition to take on somebody like Narendra Modi and the BJP, or the NDA, I should say, that you are part of. Don't you think that given the history of how these processes or these efforts have failed in the past, you have to give credit to these leaders who are meeting today, that whatever said and done, they have crossed a lot of miles and they're here for their third meeting and they're progressing with each step?
Shivani, in 2014 and 2019, the same bunch of people, they, fought as UPA. And together, I think in 2019 now, their strength in the Lok Sabha is 150 seats. And Narendra Modi ji himself, along with the BJP, is 303 seats, which is double the amount of seats that the entire opposition has got. But there is some leader with one Lok Sabha MP, one leader with 4, another one with 5. But the sycophants within their parties keep proclaiming them as the next prime minister just to please their bosses. So this is a photo op kind of opportunity.
But
can change.
No, the opposition is saying that actually this is, if you look at the numbers as well, a lot more parties are now part of this alliance that were not part of the UPA.
See, there are 28 parties, but I think out of that, almost 18 to 20 parties may not have a single member of parliament. So the number of parties does not matter. It is the number of members in the Lok Sabha which matters. It is the numerical strength which matters. It is what the people of India matter. And the people of India want Narendra Modi ji back as Prime Minister because he's delivered the goods. Narendra Modi ji means Article 370. Narendra Modi ji means Ram Mandir. Narendra Modi ji means strength for Muslim women. Narendra Modi ji means 160 welfare schemes. Narendra Modi ji means Ram Mandir. So he has delivered the goods, and the people know that he is a strong leader nationally and internationally. And
in other words, in other words, you are saying you have nothing to fear. After 10 years of a government, there is no anti-incumbency, there are no questions, and you have nothing to fear, regardless of how many parties come together.
Shivani ji, I think we will win by a bigger margin. Right now, we have around 330, 40 odd seats, and I think we'll win by more than that. However, the opposition also is right in whatever they are cobbling up. But you cannot change your name and then say that you are a tortoise. You named him named the tortoise a horse, and now tell the tortoise, poor fellow, that run like a horse.
Okay.
It's not going
All
to
right,
happen.
let me take that point to some of our other guests also joining us. Mahima Singh from the Congress Party, Shazia Ilmi from the BJP, and I'm also joined by Dr. Sunil Singh from the JDU. Let me go across to Dr. Singh first, because Mr. Singh, a lot of questions are emerging of what is really happening as far as the JDU is concerned. Now, JDU, interestingly, is one of those parties that has aligned with the BJP on a number of occasions before and has also broken off from the BJP on a number of occasions before. But even before this meeting, your leaders keep pitching Nitish Kumar as the principal face. I don't know whether as the convener or as the prime ministerial face. Don't you think that takes away from the united pitch or offering that this alliance is trying to give?
It is a known fact that for the opposition unity, Honorable Nitish Kumar has been a hero, pivot or a fulcrum, and that he showed the way with the opposition unity and Bihar formula when we ousted BJP out of power. And he met all the opposition leaders, which led to a grand meeting in Patna, where all the opposition leaders committed that they will fight common election against BJP. It was a historical moment, and the fallout was Karnataka BJP lost. So Honorable Nitish Kumar has been the architect of this thing, and about this thing so little in Mumbai also. So he has said clearly that although he is not interested in the Prime Minister post or any other post, the only fact is that he wants to go by the people's aspiration, and people are fed up of BJP misrule. So BJP should be ousted out of power, and BJP is under stress and depression, and he knows it, that BJP will be ousted out of power in 2024, and hence the Nitish Kumar is, if he is going to getting the credit, people all over the India are saying कि नीतीश नाम नहीं आंधी है, हिंदुस्तान का दूसरा गांधी है. As a Gandhi, he is going to see to it that the fascist element who are committed to spoil the history, committed to change the democracy. So democracy has to be saved.
I get that, but why don't we just get to the bottom line? You keep saying that Nitish Kumar ji should get the credit. He's the architect. There are posters in Mumbai today, Desh Mange Nitish. तो चाह क्या रहे हैं? ये बात आप करेंगे मीटिंग में आज? क्योंकि ऐसा तो नहीं हो सकता कि ये सारे लीडर्स जेडीयू के ये बात बोल रहे हैं, but they don't want anything. Obviously, you are pitching for the convener post at least. You think that is something that Nitish Kumar should get?
No, nothing. Look, Honorable Nitish Kumar has clearly said that he is not interested or a candidate for the convener post. But one thing is very known, that people knows that Nitish Kumar is the architect of the opposition unity, and people's aspirations are there.
But Dr. Sunil, point being what? People's aspirations is a nice way of saying that this is what he should get. So what is it that you think he should get?
What Gandhi got, what Jayaprakash Sen got. If you are pitching Nitish ji for a post, I think you are undervaluing his personality. The kind of a contribution he has in ousting BJP out of power will not go by any post. Gandhi ji did not have any post. But sir, that hasn't happened yet. Jayaprakash Sen did not have any post.
No, can I just tell you, taking BJP out of power hasn't happened yet, right? So you will certainly have to wait to give him that credit. That is one thing. But you've named Gandhi and Jayaprakash. So let me go across to Mahima Singh of the Congress Party. Now this is exactly what are the internal, you can call them fights, or you can call them internal contradictions of the alliance, because every day one other party and one other leader is coming out and saying that this leader deserves this leader deserves this. Mahima Singh, this is the writing on the wall for the alliance bloc. You will have to either face these issues. You can't just paper over the cracks by saying no, we'll decide it when the time is right, or we will not decide it, because it looks like the alliance could crumble under the weight of its own contradictions.
Jai Hind. While the BJP and Mr. Narendra Modi is tangled between the dots in India, we are focused on issues and ideology here. You see, we are focused on the true spirit of the words developmental and inclusive in the abbreviation that we've come together as India. Now, as I was hearing my other respected panelists speak right now, what you heard was the internal differences. What I heard was that the individual is last, ideology issues is the first for us. It is every worker's right to see a leader to see, a stalwart in their own party's leader, in their own leader. After all, we are all different schools of thought that have come together for one common agenda, which is defeating the dictatorial powers in this country, which is the BJP today. The double disaster government in many states has led, the public to be grappled by issues like inflation, unemployment, which they never even addressed.
Okay.
And you see today, as Raksha Bandhan came, they said we are giving you, a rebate of 200, a subsidy of 200, when they had actually quietly, spuriously taken that subsidy off in June 2020. This is just one of those many grappling issues that we must highlight, that I'm highlighting right now.
No, I'll come to that, but you didn't answer my fundamental question. You are right in saying that every party's workers have the aspirations and will want their leader to be the face of the alliance. So how are you going to deal with that question? That's all I'm asking. If you accept that that is the reality, that each party will pitch for its own leaders, how will you grapple with that?
Let me tell you, see, Karnataka Legislative Assembly doesn't have a leader of opposition till date, Shivani. It's been 3 months, more than 3 months. And, they dare ask us who's our leader, who's our face. We have, as many as more than a dozen of faces that we can project when we want to, when we have to. Tomorrow we are launching the logo. Today we are coming together. Our social media teams might come together. All our resources will come together. But you see, the BJP, it is so hung up with just one face, from Nagar Parishad to the parliament, that they cannot even decide on an LOP in Karnataka. So
okay, I'm not sure the LOP in Karnataka is a comparable situation, but I take your point. Let Shazia Ilmi come in here. Shazia Ilmi, the opposition parties seem to be very confident that they don't need to pick one face against Narendra Modi. Yes, Narendra Modi is a very tall leader and he is the tallest leader in the country today. And yes, any party that has a strong leader like that will obviously pitch that face. But it can also be a strategy to not pitch anyone against him. And they will be able to handle whatever are the internal aspirations of all of their members in due time.
Well, good luck to them. If they cannot decide on a PM candidate, so to speak, and there is no consensus and there are too many aspirants, then they will have to figure it out. 24 parties, 24 hours in a day, they can have a different PM every hour. The thing is, how does India, rest of India as a country and Indians feel about it? Now that is a question. I've heard many things right now, lots of arguments, and I keep writing them down because I wait my turn. So I heard something about ideology, a common ideology. I don't know what is this talk of common ideology when Nitish finds himself rushing back, going to Tejaswi's arms, so to speak, and Mamata Banerjee decides to make friends with the leftists. I mean, some ideology this. And not just that, see, Aam Aadmi Party and Congress, who are the rival, the warring factions in Punjab and Delhi, also find themselves getting together. So I don't know what ideology it is, except for Modi hatred and Modi fear, which is also all right, really. It's really no issues. Now, I keep hearing this, and Dr. Sunil was saying this just now. He's a doctor, I'm sure, and a good one at that. But I don't know how on earth could he surmise the mood of the nation and the sentiment of the people, one, and what BJP is feeling. So I don't know what kind of psychological behavior he has learnt of our party to come to that deduction that indeed everybody is enchanted by their cobbling up this alliance. Only the name of which they managed to kind of finalize so far. We have yet to see what else comes out of it, and good luck to them. So I would like to say that, one, there is no BJP, there is, like in every other matter, like in a manifesto, like whether it's uniform civil code or Ram Mandir or abrogation of 370, and we're hearing more about that. There is absolute clarity in terms of what we want, clarity in terms of what we seek, clarity in what blueprint we have ahead, clarity on who our PM will be, and what India can expect India
if
as
they
a
elect
country
a certain government.
Indians as a
so
people.
That brings us to the fundamental point that I want to ask all of our guests as well.
Here, I don't know what's happening. There's a lot of confusion, and yes, a lot of whitewashing going on.
Dr. Sunil, I want to come to you on that point that Shazia is raising. It's a fair point. You know, it isn't the India of 1980s or of 1990s. if you look at the kind of results that people are throwing up, even if it's an alliance, they'd like to know exactly that alliance before going to elections, and they're voting very strongly for governments without any, leaving the mandate in between. One is that the country today is not really voting for, as the term is used, khichdi alliances or khichdi governments. They like to know who their leader will be, especially for a general election, who will lead the country. They like to know what does that government stand for. Don't you think that the India bloc is not being able to communicate that? I understand there is some time to go, but if you look at it another way, there's not that much time.
The coalition is the need of hour, and it's the latest in democracy. It has to stay. And about the coalition, if you get a person who unites all the opposition parties, like Honorable Nitish Kumar, so he met all the opposition leaders before, got a positive response, led to a meeting in Patna, then the fallout of another meeting in Bangalore, and now in Mumbai. And things are coming in turn that one-to-one who will fight polls, seat sharing, common minimum program, and the common programs that they will do. So, I mean, it's coming to a reality, and as a political person and a political experience that we have, we can judge the nation mood, because in socio-political life, we go by the people's mood and aspirations, and people want BJP Mukt Bharat. And
why
that
is that?
Why we are on to that line.
So why is that? Before I bring in Krishna Hegde again, what are the reasons why you say that? Because none of the polls are indicating that. I'm not saying polls are 100% correct, but they do give you an idea of where the public is thinking. None of the polls, whether they are on tangible issues like seats and vote share, or they are on approval ratings, are suggesting that Narendra Modi is losing.
Like, people are fed up of price rise. For first time that even the goods, eatable goods, were taxed, and the gas cylinder price was raised from 400 to 1200, then again roll back to another 200. That doesn't carry. And the kind of a communal and social divide that BJP is trying to do. And the total is this: BJP is demeaning the constitutional post, using the central investigative agency for political things. So these are evident, and people want to get rid out of it. Unemployment, BJP promised 2 crores employment in 1 year, which leads to 18 crores. And how much employment they have given? They have given.
But sir, if you don't mind my coming in, I get your point, and fair points to raise, of course, for the government's questions must be asked. But weren't these exactly the same things the opposition said in 2019? And look what happened.
Don't worry, this time it's very clear. It's very clear.
This time it is clear.
BJP government is...
Okay, this time it's clear. Krishna Hegde wants to come in. Is this wishful thinking, or are there truly winds of change?
No, I think the country is confused about Nitish Ji, because like 2 years ago, couple of years ago, he was with us. Now they're talking about, Bharat Mukt BJP. I can't understand this. Everyone is confused. Where is he? So is he with us or is he with them? And you never know his next U-turn. So I can only say that ideology which the Congress spokesperson saying, they were not getting, the Congress was not getting along with the TMC, not getting along with the AAP, not getting along with the BJD, not getting along with the BRS, not getting along with any of the parties. And today they want to cobble them together in the last 2 months and try to stitch up an alliance. I don't think it works this way. The country knows everything. The people of this country are, smart enough to understand why they've cobbled up. It's just, old wine in a new bottle, and it doesn't work this way at all.
Okay, Mahima, please respond to that. That is one of the challenges that the India bloc will face. What is so drastically new, one, in what the India bloc is offering? What is so drastically new in the issues that you're bringing up against Narendra Modi? As I said, you may not want to rely completely on them, but his approval continues to be very high. Public tends to like him even if they don't like the BJP. His own approval is much higher than that of the BJP as a party. As a leader, people believe he is strong, he has done well for India. What is it that is new that you're raising against him, barring, seasonal issues like price rise and inflation? Because I'm sorry to say, those are issues that are raised every year against every government, at least in the last 20, 30 years, or at least since 1991, since we've had liberalization in our country. Those are not issues that make or break governments. And certainly inflation hasn't reached the kind of mark where it can make or break a government in India.
First of all, Shivani, when I was hearing the Shiv Sena spokesperson speak and, he said old wine in a new bottle, I would say they have a stale wine in an old bottle. That is one. Now, you are saying that, Narendra Modi is looking like an invincible candidate. I would say, I hope that they could project him at all the Lok Sabha seats so that they win elections, and best of luck to them, because I have seen his chest thumping one-manship, one-man army spirit being rattled in the past 3 months ever since India bloc has come together. And you see, we have compelled them to bring the inflation down, at least, even if it is for namesake. The LPG cylinder prices were up by 185%. Now they have just given a relief of 17.5%, and that too we have talked about it, that the subsidy was taken off spuriously. Now today, when you are saying that these issues, a while ago, the BJP spokesperson was talking about, the face, and she was talking about ideology and issues. Let me just say that issues in this country are champions of elections, Shivani, and this is a federal structure democracy, wherein it is the issues that have to be the champions. You're asking me that we have seen governments not change over these issues. I would say that I would like to remind you of Himachal recently and then Karnataka. And you have seen the impact that Bharat Jodo Yatra has had on them.
Yeah, fair enough. Both of those are states where the governments change every 5 years. So I'm not sure those are the apt examples. Karnataka and Himachal are not the examples to give for the general elections. But I get your point. My fundamental question, Mahima, was...
I would give some...
My fundamental question, Mahima, was... Shazi, I'm coming to you. My fundamental question was, 30 seconds I'll give to Mahima. What is so new that you're talking about that this alliance is offering versus what you tried in 2019?
The new is the BJP MPs saying themselves that you press any button, but only Narendra Modi will win. The vote will go to BJP.
Yes.
What is new is Mr. Satyapal Malik, people from the BJP itself, coming out and telling the public what the BJP is capable of, causing another Pulwama right ahead of the elections. It is people from their own party. It is not the opposition speaking. What is new is the public suffering inflation at an all-time high.
I really need to come in now.
Shazia ji, I'll give you time.
I really need to come in now. So the two things that I would like to say, and they're very important. One, about inflation. I think both Dr. Sunil and Mahima ji of Congress are talking about it. Let me just bring it to your viewers' notice that it is actually the BJP government, and only the BJP government, and not just this one, but even the last one of Vajpayee ji, that has managed to keep inflation in check. Even in these hard times when the global inflation is so high, we have managed, and almost magically, to keep it under 5%. Now, if you just want to go through, this is important because I keep hearing this and there is no truth in it, you see, and this is in fact the opposite of truth that we hear, which is bandied around. So, if you look at this, 10.90 was when it was in 2009 to 2010, which came to 12%, after which it was 8.91 to 9.48, and then 10 was percent as 2013. 2014, let's get to 2014 when the highest ever was 6.67. It has been brought down steadily down the years, 4.91, 4.95, 3.33, and now despite all the issues, it is 5.31 and now 5.1. During the pandemic and during the Ukraine crisis, it went up to 6.70 and now it's 5.1, which is amazing. So one thing. And another thing, Satyapal Malik. Now I want everybody to...
1 second, one by one please. Let Shazia complete for 30 seconds. Yeah.
No, let me finish. No. My friend knows absolutely nothing about inflation, obviously, and hasn't checked her figures. But she also could, if she could be kind enough, to also check
one person
Satyapal Malik and his antecedents. No, antecedents, facts, only facts. Satyapal Malik was the governor of Jammu and Kashmir when the Article 370 was abrogated.
Yes.
He obviously heard about this Pulwama conspiracy. He did precious nothing about it. Soon after, 6 months later, he became the governor of Goa. 1 whole year, he again kept quiet, enjoyed the power and pelf for being the governor of Goa. did absolutely nothing about
Okay,
it.
okay.
1.5,
The
2 years
BJP
later, he became
shambles.
governor of Meghalaya. No, it's
BJP
important.
shambles
You'll be hearing,
already.
Shivani, please listen.
No, but
he became
finish,
the
please,
governor
very
of
quickly.
Meghalaya. And another year, he continued to be in with the BJP. He just forgot. It was amnesia. He forgot about the so-called
Okay,
Pulwama
fair point. I don't
debacle.
think that
And
Satyapal
then he
Malik is
begged
the
and
central
pleaded
issue
for another
that either
governorship.
of the sides are facing
And
today.
he
So let's just
decided-
move away
he
from that.
decided-
I'm getting
he
some
decided to cook up a
live
story
visuals. Once
which he
again,
can't substantiate.
I'm getting some visuals from the meeting, the collection of the leaders that is taking place in Mumbai. And one of the visuals that is on your screen is Mamata Banerjee there arriving, West Bengal Chief Minister. Now, what the BJP is raising, let me go across to Krishna Hegde of the Shiv Sena there, is that Mamata Banerjee refuses to get a tilak done on her forehead. So the BJP has already raised questions on these visuals of what is it that, you know, leaders here stand for. Do you think this could hurt the alliance? Visuals like these where a chief minister from a state like West Bengal, unlike others of the team members, does not get a tilak on her forehead? Or is the BJP making too much out of this?
No, I think, see, I wouldn't want to get into something personal, but I would just like to say the Congress spokesperson was just telling us that, you know, you press any button, the vote will go to Modi. So suddenly they have come on to the EVM. So where are you going, my friends? Before that, they don't believe in the election commission. They don't believe in the judiciary. They don't believe in anything. So they have already started making excuses because they're going to lose. And now they've already started with EVM. So you know where it's going.
Okay.
So the
All right.
writing is on the wall.
Well, both
The
parties,
Congress in the
both
last
sides
two
feel the
elections-
writing is on the wall for the other side, but we'll wait and see what really substantially comes out of this India meeting. A symbol is expected, but they will need greater coordination because every day various statements coming in different lines certainly create a hodgepodge of the messaging that they might want to do. I do thank all of our guests for joining us. Moving on to the other big story that we're tracking today, which is of the central government reiterating, that too in the Supreme Court, that they are very much intending to conduct legislative assembly polls in Jammu and Kashmir, which is currently functioning as a UT. So the government informed the Supreme Court that it is ready for elections at any time and that the process of updating the voter list is substantially over. Solicitor General Mehta said the Legislative Assembly elections in Jammu and Kashmir are likely to be held after Panchayat polls and municipal polls. It is, however, for the State Election Commission and the Central Election Commission to decide which should happen first. He also reminded of the Home Minister's statement in Parliament that UT is a temporary status for Jammu and Kashmir and that the government is dealing with an extraordinary situation, while also pointing out to the betterment of the people post abrogation of Article 370 and 35A, which have been challenged in court, and this happened in the process of that hearing. Can we say then that after 4 years of the abrogation of Article 370, normalcy, a much touted word, has restored in Jammu and Kashmir? Well, we can only bring you some figures. In 2023 alone, 1.27 crore tourists have visited Jammu and Kashmir. This is the figure till July. Till June, we are also told that 15,000 foreign tourists visited the UT. That is still a month earlier. The authorities have also made a projection that 2 crore footfalls of tourists is expected this year in Jammu and Kashmir, and 58 lakh tourists visited Mata Vaishno Devi temple until July this year, and 5 lakh pilgrims have already visited Amarnath cave this year. And the most important thing is that all of this has been possible or is happening under a much larger umbrella of a peaceful atmosphere. So what are the other events that have taken place which have actually been historic for Jammu and Kashmir? Just recently, a G20 tourism meet was concluded peacefully in May. There's been unprecedented peace during Ramzan this year. More than 25,000 Shia community members took part in Muharram procession this year. This was a departure from the last few years. And just a few days ago, Miss World Karolina Bielawska visited the valley. Now, these are scenes that were unimaginable in the UT till few years back. So the big question we're asking today is, while there's been a lot of debate on just how well Jammu and Kashmir has done post abrogation of Article 370, will parties in Jammu and Kashmir though be able to deny that on the ground there is better peace and atmosphere, whether you call it normalcy or not, and that in itself is paving the way for the elections now, which the government says can happen anytime?
जम्मू कश्मीर में विधानसभा के चुनावों को कराने का फैसला लेगा। सरकार पूरी तरीके से चुनाव आयोग की हर जरूरत को पूरा करेगी।
We would see the Election Commission of India and the Government of India throwing the ball in each other's court.
Can you give me a date? If you are so satisfied, can you give me a date? I did not find a date. If your TV company has found a date, please let me know also.
ये वेलकम स्टेप है कि अगर वो चुनाव अनाउंस करते हैं, जब तक चुनाव अनाउंस नहीं हो तब तक गैसिंग होगी।
I do want to go across to Kavinder Gupta first up, former Deputy Chief Minister of Jammu and Kashmir, someone who's actually served with the PDP, the erstwhile BJP-PDP combined government that was there in Jammu and Kashmir. Now, the update that has been given by the SG in court is that the government is ready for elections. It can happen, quote, any time now. How do you see this development? Because your political opponents keep saying, and even till today they're saying, that the government has been saying this for the last few years, but the elections haven't happened and there is no definitive timeline.
देखिए, तुषार मेहता जी के माध्यम से जो सोलिसिटर जनरल हैं, सुप्रीम कोर्ट में जो आज हलफनामा दिया गया है, उससे साफ जाहिर होता है कि गवर्नमेंट की मंशा इलेक्शन कराने की है। विपक्षी पार्टियां कुछ भी कहें, जो पार्टियां वो सरकारों में थी, उन्होंने आज तक ना तो बीडीसी डीडीसी के इलेक्शन नहीं कभी करवाए। पूरे देश में 13 बार इलेक्शन हो गए पंचायतों के और लोकल बॉडीज के, लेकिन यहाँ जम्मू कश्मीर में 4 बार इलेक्शन हुए। भारतीय जनता पार्टी ने डिलिमिटेशन कमीशन की बात की थी, वो बैठा, उसने अपना काम पूरा किया। 1-1.5 साल कोरोना के कारण से लगा, तो स्वाभाविक बात है कि अब ये बहुत देर से, क्योंकि नेशनल कॉन्फ्रेंस ने अपने समय में ये प्रस्ताव पारित कर दिया था कि 2026 तक इलेक्शन ही नहीं हो सकते। उसलिए जरूरी था कि ये अमेंडमेंट की जाती। तो आज डिलिमिटेशन के माध्यम से सभी क्षेत्र बराबर के बनाए गए हैं। कश्मीर में बहुत सी ऐसी कॉन्स्टिट्यूंसीज थी जिसमें 16,000 वोट था। जम्मू में जो भी कॉन्स्टिट्यूंसी थी 1 लाख से ज्यादा वोट था। उसी आधार पर मैं ये कहूंगा कि सरकार की मंशा है इलेक्शन करवाने की और सरकार इलेक्शन करवाएगी। इससे पहले प्रधानमंत्री जी, माननीय गृह मंत्री जी संसद में भी कह चुके हैं कि इलेक्शन होंगे, तो हम उसके लिए तैयार हैं। तो भारतीय जनता पार्टी भी चाहती है कि लोकतांत्रिक प्रक्रिया जम्मू कश्मीर में स्थापित हो।
जो डिस्कशन हुई है वो ये भी बताया जा रहा है कि पहले म्युनिसिपल और पंचायत इलेक्शंस होंगे। इस डेवलपमेंट को आप कैसे देखते हैं? वोटर लिस्ट की बात करी एसजी तुषार मेहता ने, उन्होंने बोला लगभग कंप्लीट हो गई है, लेकिन सवाल यही बना रहता है कि टाइमलाइन कोई निकल के नहीं आ रही है।
देखिए, मैंने पहले ही कहा कि पुरानी सरकारों ने लोकल बॉडीज का इलेक्शन करवाए ही नहीं। 1980 में इलेक्शन हुए थे, फिर 2005 में इलेक्शन हुए थे, तब मैं मेयर बना था। तो 25 साल बाद ये इलेक्शन करवाते हैं और 2010 से लेकर के 2018 तक इन्होंने फिर इलेक्शन नहीं करवाई। भारतीय जनता पार्टी की सरकार के माध्यम से इलेक्शन हुए। 1973 ये 73rd और 74th अमेंडमेंट को यहाँ पर लागू किया गया। तो स्वाभाविक बात है कि टाइमली इलेक्शन हो। इसलिए भारतीय जनता पार्टी ने ये जो लोकल बॉडीज को स्ट्रेंथन किया है, ये पंचायती राज को स्ट्रेंथन किया है। आज उस माध्यम से केंद्र से जो डायरेक्ट फंडिंग है वो उनको हो रही। तो स्वाभाविक बात है कि वहां पर डेवलपमेंट ना रुके, इसलिए इलेक्शन करवाए जाएंगे। अभी प्रोसेस कुछ दिन पहले लोकल बॉडीज का पूरा हुआ है 29th को। ये 29th को, उससे पहले जो वोटर लिस्ट सारी उसका रिव्यू किया गया है। तो स्वाभाविक बात है कि हम प्रिपेयर है इलेक्शन करवाने के लिए। और ये जो जल्द है एक पंचायतों के इलेक्शन भी होने वाले हैं। इन 2 इलेक्शंस के बाद भारतीय जनता पार्टी चाहती है कि ये, क्योंकि ये प्रेरोगेटिव तो
इलेक्शन कमीशन
ऑफ इंडिया का है, वो इलेक्शन करवाए।
जी बिल्कुल, but there is a timeline you're saying and the timeline is very clear. I finally want to ask you, Kavinder Gupta, the BJP always says that since the abrogation of Article 370, there's been large-scale change in just the atmosphere in Jammu and Kashmir, and of course, as far as terror activities are concerned. So is the BJP ready to fight parties like the NC and the PDP, the Gupkar alliance parties, Because you've always been a smaller party in Jammu and Kashmir. How do you see the political landscape of the UT changing?
ये इस बात का सबूत है कि एक उपकार यहाँ पर गठबंधन बना है। आप जानती हैं भारतीय जनता पार्टी का डर कहीं ना कहीं उन्हें सता रहा है, तभी तो वो इकट्ठे हुए हैं। नहीं तो ये पहले पार्टियां 40-40 साल ये सत्ता में रही, आखिर उनका क्यों गठबंधन की जरूरत पड़ी? हम खुद समझ सकते हैं कि भारतीय जनता पार्टी का डर उन्हें सता रहा है और आने वाले समय में भारतीय जनता पार्टी अपने बल पर 50+ का जो हमारा एक नारा है उसको पूरा करेगी और सरकार अपने तौर पर बनाएगी।
Okay. All right, we'll wait and see what happens, but certainly this is once again a reiteration by the government that they're committed for the polls in Jammu and Kashmir. Kavinder Gupta, thanks a lot for joining us. I also want to go across to our other guests waiting for us. Shazia Ilmi of the BJP continues to be with us. Nilofar Masood of the JKNC is also with us. Nilofar Masood, I'm not quite understanding what is the criticism that the Jammu and Kashmir parties are mounting. It has always been stated by the government that statehood will return, that process will take time. Today the government has once again reiterated and possibly given you a slight timeline. Are you happy with that reassurance, or are you not feeling assured?
Shivani, actually what is sub judice before the Honorable Supreme Court is basically the writ petition which is against the abrogation of the Article 370.
Yes.
We have not knocked the doors of the justice for the elections. It's true that we want that there should be restoration of the democracy, but let me be very clear that what is the writ petition before the Supreme Court is basically the illegalities, against the illegalities.
Of the manner in which the Article 370 was abrogated. I get that.
See, yes, that is the actual fact which is before the Honorable Supreme Court, which should be decided. And what the SG is doing, in fact, he intends to give the diversion to that petition in order to just end it up with the elections, that we want elections.
No, but ma'am, in this case, let's be fair.
Because they don't have any legal arguments.
No, they've made legal arguments.
Any legal arguments.
One second, ma'am, for the benefit of our viewers. Of course, the argument on whether the Article 370 was abrogated legally or not, those arguments are ongoing. The government has also presented its case on why it took that decision. That's a separate matter. But as far as statehood for Jammu and Kashmir is concerned, that question came from the bench. The SG Tushar Mehta has only responded to the question and the query that the bench asked him to.
Just give me 20 seconds.
Yes.
Just give me 20 seconds.
Yes,
From
go
last
ahead.
5 years, we are having the governor's role. And we have been hearing after each fortnight that yes, elections will be held. We do want that there should be the restoration of the democracy. But from last 5 years, we have been hearing it off and on. And what today is being done in the Jammu and Kashmir, it is the election rolls are being updated. There is no doubt about it. But for the ULB elections, which are going to be held, not for the assembly elections. And for that too, they are not clear about the time frame when actually these are going to be held.
So according to you, okay, let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question. Again, I see a contradiction here. According to you, elections should be held today. But also according to you and your parties, the atmosphere on the ground is too bad. So are you saying that elections should have, even though the atmosphere on ground is not conducive, or are you accepting that normalcy has returned to Jammu and Kashmir?
Clear. See, there are two contradictory things which the government is taking. On one side, they are filing the supplementary affidavit before the Honorable Supreme Court that everything is fine here, normalcy is there, we don't have stone pelting, everything, graph is going on very good, economy is very good, but everything is good. Why the democracy is not being restored?
Okay, fair enough.
This is a big question mark, and they are working also.
No, but do you accept, Nilofar ji, I'll take that question to Shazia, but do you accept that yes, normalcy has returned to Jammu and Kashmir? If you are asking for elections today, then you must accept that yes, the atmosphere is conducive for elections. Yes, Nilofar ji?
You're asking me?
Yes, has normalcy returned to Jammu and Kashmir according to you or not?
See, I am saying these two contradictory these views have been taken by the government of India. On one way, they are saying that there is normalcy. If there is normalcy, then why the democracy is not being restored?
Because they're doing delimitation and they're sorting out the voter list. In any case, you didn't answer my question. If you want polls today, then you must also accept that there is normalcy on ground. Let Shazia come in. Shazia, Ilmi, there is no definitive timeline,
So
only
I see, in
assurances
fact,
that come in from the BJP or the government from time to time.
So I heard Nilofer ji very patiently, and she failed to convince either me, you, or the viewers.
I don't have
about
to
what
convince
her stance
you.
or a
Shazia
party's
Almi, I don't
stance
need
is.
to convince you.
That's because there is so
need
much
to convince
contradiction
the
in what
Honorable
she's saying.
Supreme Court.
And I
You
tell
need
you
to
why.
convince the
And I tell
Honorable
you why. No,
Supreme
no, you
Court
have
on
to
the
be quiet
legalities.
to listen. I want to.
I don't need to convince you. Why should I convince you? You need to
can I
convince the
finish?
Honorable Supreme Court on the legalities.
No, no.
Nilofer ji, you had your turn. Let her speak and then you can speak
Again,
again.
you confused. Again,
I'm not here to
Nilofer ji, again
convince
you
you.
confused. Again you confused.
No, I'm not
You
here
know,
to
the problem
convince
with you is that you're very confused and you're trying to cover up that confusion
No,
by
there
trying
is
to
problem with
confuse
you people,
others.
that you
Now,
are
I'll tell you why.
confused. You are not
You're
able to
conflating
give
the
the
two
time
issues.
frame, actual
One is the
time
issue
frame.
of abrogation of
On
Article
one side, you are
370
saying
and the
that we are
process
with the
whereby
democracy, and
it
on
was
the other side, you are
abrogated.
saying that
Let me finish. No, can I request Shivani to allow me to speak?
Can I, Nilofer ji, I will appreciate you got your turn.
Shivani,
Now
can
please
you- can I
allow
just
our
have
other
10
panelists to
seconds of-
speak as well. Yes, Shazia, go ahead.
You know, because I just heard Nilofer Appa very seriously talk about and tie herself in knots, and many of them, as she talked about this issue. She conflates the two issues. The issue of abrogation of 370 and the process whereby it happened, that's one. And that is exactly where the submissions have been, and you know, lawyers on both sides are giving their reasons and reasoning and arguments for the same. And also a separate issue on the elections. Now it is her party and all other parties which have been asking for elections, and have been saying until this announcement came that Jammu and Kashmir is ready for elections. Now the biggest grouse was how long will the state of India or the union govern them through the lieutenant governor and not have fair and free elections. Now finally that is being announced, and now it's difficult for them to accept that exactly what they asked for is what they're getting. So they're trying, there is no answer really. So
But
the
Shazia, can I come
contradiction that
in?
she talks about is exactly representative of how she feels.
But
No, I
Shazia,
want to
they're
say two
saying
things.
that there is no
If
definitive
this-
timeline still. There is no time, there is no date still.
Exactly. There is no definitive timeline about the restoration of the statehood. And this is exactly what has been argued in the court. What has been argued in the court is that there could be elections, and there will be, where it comes to panchayat, municipal and assembly levels, and there should be. But when this question specifically was asked as to when the statehood would be restored, to which there was a very honest answer that there is no definitive answer that can be given to that. So that's it. But the question on elections has been answered. And the fact and this complete rabble rousing that went on, that the union is interfering with the rights and the freedom of Kashmiri people by not having elections, by perpetuating the governor's or lieutenant governor's rule, and therefore imposing itself on the federal rights of the people of Kashmir, has now been undone.
Okay,
So
can I bring in Nilofer again?
Argument here.
Nilofer ji,
there is no
I want
argument that you can make.
Nilofer ji, I want to give you another minute. I want to understand from you. You know,
Let
all of
me
these
submit to the
parties.
Shazia
One
Appa
second.
also. Let me
Nilofer,
submit to the
Nilofer ji,
Shazia
please
Appa.
listen
Just
to
give
my
me 20
question also.
seconds.
Nilofer ji, please listen to my question
Yes,
also.
yes.
The point also is that the democracy that you talk about in Jammu and Kashmir was one limited in the hands of a few chosen few. That was not true democracy either. I was speaking to Kavinder Gupta earlier, but these are statistics that are available to everyone, that local elections were not held for many years, at some times for decades in Jammu and Kashmir. So how can Jammu and Kashmir parties claim that they are the true representatives of democracy in the valley? Is also a large question.
See, Shivani, you must be knowing that what were the situations right from 1989 till.
So you accept the situation was bad under you.
See.
So you accept that till JK, NC, until PDP were ruling, the situation was bad.
Let me complete. If you are going to answer on my behalf, then it will be useless.
No, please make admissions.
Allow me to speak.
Go ahead.
Allow me to speak. You know what was the situation in the Jammu and Kashmir. Even then, National Conference is the party which held the local body elections. Even in 2002, the elections were held. And after that, you should admit this thing. Whenever the local body elections were held in the Jammu and Kashmir, it was only the JKNC, not any other party. And about the assembly elections, I have been saying that center has been ruling right from 2014 till date. what actually has happened in the Jammu and Kashmir. They are talking about the peace, prosperity and everything. Neither democracy is here, neither development is there, neither prosperity is there.
Is peace there?
You kindly see,
you
kindly see the rate of the unemployment youths. You kindly see that.
Ma'am, all of those fruits of development will come to Jammu and Kashmir, and they have started to come to Jammu and Kashmir after abrogation of Article 370. You cannot expect everything overnight. Do you know that Jammu and Kashmir used to get,
I'll give you the numbers.
No, one second. Jammu and Kashmir used to get disproportional India funds, disproportional funds from the central government till 2019. What happened to those funds is a question India should ask. I'm sorry, but the issue is peace and the issue is elections. I don't want to get into this because I don't have a time. I have time for this. Yeah, 30 seconds, please.
80,000. See, we have heard about the 80,000 packages, 80,000 crores package. It was said by the our PM that he has given 80,000 rupees package to our 80,000 crore package to Jammu and Kashmir. But what happened to that? It only was floating in the papers and in the air itself. You just tell me.
I'm talking about historically. I'm not even talking about 2014. Historically, Jammu and Kashmir has received disproportionate. I'm saying because it doesn't give anything to the union. It has received disproportionate funds over decades. And where has that money gone is not a question that you can throw to others, because your parties have been in power.
Tell me who is responsible for that?
Parties like you. You've ruled in Jammu and Kashmir.
You are today giving us the number of the tourists. You are including the pilgrims who are coming to this state. We were never adding to those numbers to the already to all the.
If you're telling me that situation is the same as it was, on one hand you say you know what happened in Jammu and Kashmir since 1989. On another hand you say that peace has returned, election should happen today. I am confused. But I'll give 30. No, I'm sorry, I've given you enough time. This is not for you to evade my questions. Shazia Elmi, I have 30 seconds left. The government's performance will also be judged.
Yes.
All the tall claims, if I'm using that word very seriously, all the tall claims of development, of terror coming down, of peace returning or normalcy returning, those are claims that will be judged on ground.
Of course, and they should be judged. And that is evident because you just see at the level, at the panchayat level, the kind of funds that have been given and used. And not just that, for the first time there's a cinema. There are students actually who play football and have moved away, been weaned away from stone pelting. And not just that, tourism is a huge indicator. The entire industry, the biggest revenue earner for them has been tourism. That is important. Rights of other citizens such as Safai Valmikis and Safai Karamcharis and women and others have been restored, which wasn't there earlier.
Most importantly, the Solicitor General. No, the Solicitor General said.
But I want to make another point. It's a very important point which the Solicitor General made.
Yes.
And said that there had to be bifurcation. Now, this whole issue of statehood, if there was a matter of bifurcation of any other state, it would have been a different matter. But because we're talking about looking at different parameters for delimitation and updating voter records, which is important because it shares boundaries with.
All right, I have to leave it at that, but I do want to point out to our viewers that the SG also mentioned terror-initiated instances have reduced by 45%, infiltration by 90% between 2018 to 2023, and incidents like stone pelting have reduced by 97%. Those are all numbers that cannot be refuted. We have to slip into a very short break now. On the other side, we'll get you some more news and updates.
आरोपी जुलाहा होना चाहिए। अगर ये तीनों होंगे, सूत होगा, कपास होगा, जुलाहा होगा, तभी विकास की बुनाई होगी। यहां न नीति है, न नेता है। इस मीटिंग को अगर एक हिंदी के मुहावरे में कहा जाए तो वो मुहावरा होगा, न सूत न कपास, जुलाहों में लट्ठम लट्ठा। कि हम सब बैठेंगे और कॉमन मिनिमम प्रोग्राम CMP बनाएंगे। आज का मुख्य उद्देश्य उनका है CMP बनाना। हमारा भी मानना है, यही इनका एजेंडा है। कॉमन मिनिमम प्रोग्राम और मैक्सिमम प्रॉफिट कैसे हो, कम से कम काम और ज्यादा से ज्यादा कमाना, यह किस प्रकार हो, यही इनकी नियति है, यही इनका उद्देश्य है। इस घमंडिया गठबंधन का उद्देश्य ही है मिनिमम प्रोग्राम मैक्सिमम प्रॉफिट, करप्शन से मैक्सिमम प्रॉफिट। सभी जानते हैं कि जीएम की मीटिंग मुंबई में हो रही है। जीएम मतलब घमंडिया मीटिंग, ये आज मुंबई में है। वास्तविक रूप में ये जो म्यूजिकल चेयर विपक्षी दलों के बीच में चल रहा है, इसके विषय में ज्यादा बताने की आवश्यकता नहीं है। मैंने बहुत सोच समझ कर म्यूजिकल चेयर के शब्द का इस्तेमाल किया है, क्योंकि इस प्रकार के विपक्ष के मीटिंग का अनुभव आप लोगों के लिए, देश के लिए और हमारे लिए कोई नया नहीं है।
We see that one hand there's an India alliance meet happening. Parallelly, even Eknath Shinde has called up all his alliance partners and BJP leaders at NSCI. They'll also be having a dinner meet. So, ma'am, what do you have to say on that?
Who are his alliance partners? ED, IT, CBI. Yeah, he's called them. So I don't want to speak much about it because it takes agenda away from people's agenda. India is speaking people's agenda. India party members are speaking about India's agenda, and the agenda is the absolute uselessness of the central government, absolute failure of an unconstitutional government, an absolute abject failure to people's issues.
We understand that there will be a logo which will be unveiled. There will be discussion on the convener, but will a PM face also be decided, because that's a question that people are asking.
No, people are not asking. People are not asking you whether it's the Prime Minister which is important or whether their daily lives being impacted by high prices is the problem. People will ask you whether it is the farmers which is an issue or whether it is who's the Prime Minister will be an issue. The country knows that there are many capable leaders. They've reduced the entire nation to one leader, which India will never accept.
आप एनडीए की और बीजेपी की खास तौर पे बौखलाहट इसी चीज़ से देख सकते हैं कि वो लगातार हम पर हमारे नाम को लेकर हमले कर रहे हैं। और इतने बड़े बड़े लोग, यहाँ तक कि प्राइम मिनिस्टर ऑफ इंडिया, जिन्होंने कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन ऑफ इंडिया के तहत अपना कार्यभार संभाला, इंडियन फ्लैग के नीचे खड़े होकर शपथ ली, प्रेसिडेंट ऑफ इंडिया ने उन्हें शपथ दिलाई, गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया के वो मुखिया हैं, सरकार में आने के बाद स्टार्टअप इंडिया, स्किल इंडिया, मेक इन इंडिया, बढ़ेगा इंडिया, खेलो इंडिया, चलेगा इंडिया, न जाने कौन कौन सी स्कीम्स उन्होंने लॉन्च करी, नीतियां लॉन्च करी। आज उसी पार्टी को और उन्हीं लोगों को इंडिया शब्द से नफरत हो गई। आज ये हमारे अलायंस का जो कंपैरिजन है वो किसी आतंकवादी संगठन से कर रहे हैं, क्योंकि उन्हें इंडिया शब्द से इतनी नफरत हो गई। ये नफरत नहीं है, ये उनकी बौखलाहट है। ये लोग डरे हुए हैं, घबराए हुए हैं कि कहीं ये गठबंधन सफल ना हो जाए।
इस मंथन से अमृत ही निकलेगा और 2024 का एजेंडा तय होगा, संगठन का एजेंडा तय होगा, सवालों का एजेंडा तय होगा और नया इसका कोई संयोजन मंडल या संयोजक भी हो सकता है। एक झंडा जरूर होगा जिसके नीचे सारे दल मिलकर के चुनाव लड़ेंगे। ये इस मीटिंग की सबसे बड़ी सफलता। देखिए, हम इंडिया के संस्थापक हैं। नीतीश कुमार जी के ही प्रारंभिक प्रयासों का नतीजा है कि इंडिया का निर्माण हुआ। वो किसी पद के लिए या किसी संगठनात्मक पद के लिए नहीं था, वो 2024 में भारतीय जनता पार्टी से इफेक्टिव तरीके से मुकाबला करने के लिए था। हमें प्रसन्नता है कि हमारा लगा हुआ पौधा आज फल दे रहा है और इंडिया का विस्तार हो रहा है।
At 6 p.m. is when all of the opposition leaders are going to be at that meeting venue. 6:30 is when those informal talks happen, which is why the BJP says that this is nothing more than a party. But we have leaders that are already reaching in Mumbai now ahead of that meeting. Sonia Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi have just arrived. But let's take a look at what the Congress's stand on this is, because remember, massive controversy erupted after a poster was put out by the Congress party on its social media handles yesterday. Welcome back. After making India proud at the Chess World Cup final, 18-year-old chess prodigy Pragyananda has met the Prime Minister at 7 Lok Kalyan Marg. The Prime Minister has even tweeted a picture with him saying, "You personify passion and perseverance. Your example shows how India's youth can conquer any domain," unquote. My colleague Payal Mehta is also joining us. Payal, a very important and a very big meeting for Pragyananda.
Well, of course, yes. It seems that Pragna is already having a good time in the sense he was given a hero's welcome yesterday when he returned to Chennai. He met the Chief Minister there, and today he met the Prime Minister. He met the Prime Minister with his family. The kind of glory that this young man has been able to bring to the country, the kind of steps that he's really taken a chest forward in, is something that everybody is really proud about. And nonetheless, the Prime Minister himself taking keen interest on this, and then the pictures have been tweeted out by the Prime Minister's office, essentially talking about the meeting and saying that how he can be an inspiration for many young people, given the fact that chess is not such a popular sport in India, and it's taken years together, Shivani, and you will understand this as good as anybody else, to see a hero emerge after we've seen Vishwanathan Anand.
Right. Absolutely. Pragananda has also thanked the Prime Minister, and his parents are also there in another picture that he has posted as well. So good to see them getting the recognition they deserve. With that, it's a wrap on Plain Speak. My colleague Anand is joining you with the right stand.
Namaste, Jai Hind, and welcome to this edition of The Right Stand. Ladies and gentlemen, we've got something very special in store for you just about 25 minutes from now. Not that the first 25 minutes of this edition of The Right Stand are not special, but it's a conversation that you must listen to as I'm in conversation with Sadhguruji. But ahead of that, there is a lot that is developing in Mumbai. Well, it all started in Patna, then moved to Bengaluru, and now it's in Mumbai, where 28 parties or regional satraps plus some national parties are going to come together to figure out how they can collectively form a bunch with a very, very interesting acronym that is I.N.D.I.A, trying to pinch upon